2025 was a huge year. We tested literally hundreds of vehicles on the road, on the trail, and here at Edmunds' private test track. Some were crushing disappointments, some were solid competitors, and some were quite superb. These are the very best. We're Edmunds. We test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck or SUV is the best, stick with us. We tested more than 10 small SUVs this year, including the new Toyota RAV4, but none of them were better than this. The Tucson stands out for a few reasons. In our testing, the hybrid was really easy to drive smoothly, with a seamless handoff between electric and gas power. The ride quality is excellent too. The Tucson glides over rough roads and always keeps its composure. Space and comfort inside are another plus, with supportive seats and enough room in the back for full-size adults. The tech's also impressive, with plenty of driver aids to keep you out of trouble. Peace of mind is provided by the best warranty in the business, a privilege it shares with its sister car, the Kia Sportage. There are a couple of caveats we should note. First, we much prefer the hybrid over the gas-only Tucson, which is problematically slow and not as smooth. We don't love all the touch buttons inside, other hybrids get better fuel economy, and we know the looks aren't to everyone's taste. But as a package, the Tucson Hybrid is easy to recommend. The Blue Oval's biggest SUV came to play. You buy a big SUV like this for its utility, and the Expedition's got plenty. There's space for adults in all three rows, tons of interior storage, and lots of room for cargo. Plus, it'll tow more than almost any other SUV on sale. In our testing, we also really like the way it drives. The ride is really comfortable for a truck-based SUV like this. It's competent off-road, and the twin-turbo V6 is outstanding, making for an easy, confident drive in all conditions. Of course, we do have some criticisms. The steering's too slow, so you have to twirl the wheel a lot around town or while parking. Most controls are through the touchscreen instead of actual buttons, which can be fiddly to use. And as you might guess, for an SUV like this, fuel economy is not great. But these are modest concerns. We put the Expedition up against its most obvious competitor, the Chevy Tahoe, and the Ford dominated. It's the best big three-row you can buy. And if you're ready to sell your old car to make space, there's a fast, easy tool on our site. If you want a three-row but don't need the towing capacity and added off-road capability of a big, trucky SUV like the Expedition, we strongly recommend the Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. The Palisade really wowed us this year, starting with the interior. The design, materials, and features all feel a step above rival three-row SUVs, including Toyota's excellent Grand Highlander. There's tons of space across all three rows, plus USB ports and useful storage for everyone. The hybrid is super smooth on the road, and worth the premium over the gas-only version, which is sluggish and not nearly as fuel efficient. The Palisade Hybrid doesn't tow quite as much as some of its rivals, but it's still a brilliant all-rounder. One of the best cars we drove all year. For an electric three-row, we recommend the Hyundai Ioniq 9. Yes, we know we recommend a lot of Hyundai products, and yes, we read the comments, and no, we're not being paid off. They're just making great cars right now. The Ioniq 9 has everything we want in a three-row EV. It exceeded expectations in the Edmunds EV range test, charged crazy fast in the Edmunds EV charging test, and you have access to Tesla's excellent supercharger network. The interior is spacious and really well appointed for the price. Super adjustable front seats meant we stayed comfortable even on our long testing loops, and we like the fact that the interior isn't too reliant on touchscreen controls like some other EVs. And if you shopped for a three-row EV recently, you'll know the Ioniq 9's base price of around 60 grand is actually a solid deal. Plus you get the good Hyundai warranty. Negatives? Hyundai's infotainment system is starting to show its age, and we don't love the slow, heavy steering, but still, this is a great pick, one of the best cars of the year. If you want something more luxurious, we're big fans of the BMW iX. We know this car too, we owned one as part of our one-year road test fleet. The iX stands out amongst other electric SUVs, not just because of its polarizing design, but also because it's an exceptional luxury car. The interior feels airy, the materials are excellent, and it's near silent even on the highway. There's almost no wind or tire noise. Available features like glass control knobs, soft closed doors, massage seats, and a terrific Bowers & Wilkins audio system really contribute to the luxury feel too. And the iX is really pleasant to drive. It's plenty quick, small enough to be easy to park, and has excellent ride comfort. Plus, we've really enjoyed BMW's hands-free driving tech in our testing. Yes, the touchscreen controls can be a little fiddly to use, and it's not cheap, but luxury EVs come no better. And for a more affordable electric SUV, well, we didn't drive anything better last year than the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It nails the EV stuff. Got a good range, Tesla supercharger access, and it boasts some of the fastest charging we've tested in any EV. But what we love most is that it's such an easy car to live with. The Ioniq 5 does a great job of balancing the familiar with the modern. There are a bunch of intuitive physical controls in the cabin, and everything just works the way you'd expect it to. There's no learning curve here. And we like the way the Ioniq 5 drives in all its different variants. From the Semi-Lux Limited to the toughened up XRT and the crazy fast track-ready Ioniq 5N. There are a few issues. Visibility out the back isn't great, and the cargo space is smaller than average for the segment, and there's no hands-free driving like in some of its competitors. But no other electric SUV in this category does so much so well. One message that rang clear last year is that Ford still knows trucks really well, and no one's doing them better right now. Example A, the F-150. We tested F-150s on the road, off-road, towing and hauling, and the Ford always impressed. Part of this is the wide variety of configurations, 5 cab and bed combos, 6 available engines and 8 trim levels including the Raptor and Tremor off-roaders. If you can't find a version of the F-150 that meets your needs, you might not be looking hard enough. It's also super stable while towing, more so than the Ram 1500 that we own in our 1-year road test fleet, and has a bunch of truck-friendly features available, such as an onboard generator, a flip-over center console lid, and the effective Blue Cruise hands-free driving system. We like the easy-to-use infotainment setup too. No full-size pickup is as well-rounded as the F-150. We can say the same of its one-step smaller sibling, the Ford Ranger. We actually own 3 mid-sized trucks as part of the 1-year road test fleet, a Ranger, a Chevy Colorado, and a Toyota Tacoma, and the Ranger stood out as the best. This truck's strong engines and impressive towing and payload capability stood out from the pack, as did its comfortable and composed ride when we were using it as an everyday driver. We also like the intuitive tech and the inclusion of physical controls, especially in a pickup. That ease of use really matters. Now, there's only one crew cab, 5-foot bed configuration, which could be a deal breaker for some, and the Ranger is a couple of grand more than its competitors, but it's the best mid-sized pickup we drove in 2025. But we also love the Maverick. We took a close look at the whole Ford truck lineup for a video earlier this year, and for a lot of drivers, this is the one you actually want. The compact size means it's easy to drive and easy to park, but we found the bed is still surprisingly useful, with enough payload capacity for around 35 bags of topsoil, or you can fit 4x8 sheets of plywood. The hybrid is the one that really impressed us, nearly 40 miles per gallon. And you can now get the hybrid with all-wheel drive. That's the one we bought with our own money for our 1-year road test fleet. There's good interior storage and solid, straightforward tech. The ride is a little lumpy and the interior feels a bit cheap in places, but these are minor criticisms, especially when you consider that the Maverick is the cheapest truck on sale. We were pleasantly surprised by the GMC Sierra EV last year. First off, it achieved an extraordinary 507-mile result in the Edmunds EV range test, courtesy of the massive battery GM installed. That gives plenty of wiggle room if you're towing a heavy trailer, which means it's one of the very few EVs you could actually use as a semi-long-range tow rig. Rear-wheel steering makes the Sierra EV shockingly agile for a truck of this size too. We like the interior. Its sister truck, the Chevy Silverado EV, also came through our garage last year, but that felt a little cheap in places. The Sierra EV, by contrast, uses premium materials and its upscale design feels much more appropriate for a truck at this lofty price point. The bed is a clever standout. Like all electric trucks so far, there's only one cab and bed configuration, and the bed's pretty short. But unlike every electric truck with the exception of the Silverado, you can open up the wall between the cabin and the bed to create a ton more bed space. Really clever. The absence of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto is a potential deal breaker for some consumers, and highway road noise is louder than it should be, but overall, the Sierra EV is an impressive pickup. And just like every year since its introduction, so is the Rivian R1T. The R1T is available in dual, tri, and quad motor configurations, all of which we drove last year, and all of which really impressed us. You get rapid performance on the road, and we achieved nearly 400 miles of range in a dual motor version with the max battery pack. But one of the biggest differences with the new Gen 2 R1Ts is that Rivian now builds their own motors, and they're much better than before. Low-speed driving feels way smoother than in older Rivians. The R1T also impresses off-road, but be careful which you spec. We did some off-road testing with a dual-motor Rivian and a Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro, and the Rivian struggled for traction on a hill climb. But when we tested a quad motor, it was all but unstoppable. The interior is quiet, comfortable, and spacious, with clever storage areas including Rivian's awesome gear tunnel. Build quality is solid too, which, as we've learned, is hardly a given for startup EVs. Like the GMC, there's no smartphone mirroring in the Rivian, which is a shame, and some buyers might not like how many controls go through the touchscreen. But as a package, the R1T showed us its excellence once again. The Toyota Camry really stood out to us last year too. Now hybrid only, we knew the Camry's fuel economy would be excellent, but the rest of the car was a pleasant surprise. This new model feels smooth and confident from behind the wheel, something we couldn't say about the last Camry. And there's plenty of power for everyday driving. Toyota includes an impressive collection of driver aids on every model too. The Camry's interior has tons of space, and passengers will be pleased with just how quiet the cabin is on the highway. Maybe most impressive of all is the price. The entry-level Camry Hybrid costs nearly $5,000 less than the cheapest hybrid version of the Honda Accord. The engine can sound a little coarse when you step on the gas, and some competitors have more comfortable front seats, but if you want a well-rounded, everyday driver at a relatively accessible price point, it's the Camry that stands out. Those with more budget should look towards the Mercedes E-Class. The levels of comfort and luxury here are nearly unparalleled. Ride comfort is outstanding. On one test route, our driver noted that it offers a masterclass in luxury car suspension, and we were also amazed at the silence of the interior on multiple roads. The leather, wood, and metal throughout the cabin are about as good as it gets, and Mercedes' version of luxury also includes advanced tech. You can even use an in-car camera for built-in video conferencing on the road. Some buyers might not love the limited storage for small items like keys, phones, and wallets, and the rear seat is a little smaller than the rival BMW 5 Series. But if you're in the market for a car like this, those nitpicks shouldn't stop you from buying one of the best cars we drove last year. Simply put, there might be no better all-round car than the Honda Civic Hybrid. It gets great fuel economy, it's comfortable, and there's plenty of space. Most Civics are sedans, but we love that you can also get a hatchback with a good amount of cargo room. That's the one that we have in our one-year road test fleet. And we know cars like this aren't about being fun to drive. The Civic's a joy from behind the wheel. There's a bit more road noise than we like, but the power, the responsive steering, the controlled handling, you feel more confident in the Civic than you do in any of its competitors. And that's valuable. There are a few things we'd change for our dream Civic. There are a handful of missing features on higher trim models, namely adjustable lumbar support, cool seats, and a 360 camera. Honda will also only give you the great hybrid engine on nicer trims, which means the cheapest Civic Hybrid is about $5,000 more than an entry-level stripped-back Toyota Corolla Hybrid. But Honda made a name for itself by selling small, fuel-efficient cars that were fun to drive and practical. The new Civic Hybrid proves Honda can still do it, and do it better than anyone else. We named it our Edmunds top-rated Best of the Best in 2025, and it's still one of the best cars we drove all year. The BMW i5. Some cars are so good that even when everyone else has had another year to catch up, they stay on top. What stands out about the i5 is that it's a terrific luxury car that just happens to be electric, not some gizmo trying to convince you that it's from the future. We love the i5's classy, upscale cabin and its ultra-comfortable seats. The i5 drives like a luxury car too. A plush ride steals the show, but we also appreciate the BMW's impossibly smooth acceleration and braking, as well as its capable hands-free driving system. It's fun too. The i5 M60 won a driving comparison last year against the mighty BMW M5. The i5 has the same slightly confusing tech as the BMW iX, and enthusiasts might not like its relatively numb steering, but when we look back at 2025, we still remember this one fondly. The Audi A6 e-tron is the other electric luxury car we'd recommend for 2026. This is an all-new model for this year, and it really stood out to us as we look back on a year of testing. Range, efficiency, and charging are all up there with the best in the industry, so it's got the EV chops. But that's not the only thing going for it. The biggest advantage over the BMW i5 is that the A6 is a hatchback, so you get a ton of cargo space for a car this size. Ride comfort and interior noise levels are as impressive as any car on this list, and the A6 is surprisingly fun to drive. You wouldn't expect it, but the A6 is also a more affordable option than equivalent models from BMW or Mercedes. We have a few nitpicks. The interior quality isn't as good as Audis of old, it's hard to see out the back of, and the rear seats aren't as comfortable as they might be. But if you want an electric car with proper luxury and great range, the Audi A6 e-tron is the car that really stood out last year. But yet again, this list wouldn't be complete without the Tesla Model 3. Tesla made a huge updates to its most affordable EV last year, and even alongside another 12 months of strong competition, the Model 3 is still the standout. Nothing at this price matches the all-round range and performance of the Model 3. And Tesla introduced a more accessible entry point this year with the Model 3 Standard. The big update brought a range of improvements. The seats are better, the interior is quieter, the materials are plusher, the suspension is more comfortable. The level of refinement here really stands out. And of course, it offers Tesla's full self-driving technology, which is expensive but gets better and better. And as we've learnt last year, the Model 3 Performance may be the sports sedan bargain of the century. There are some familiar Tesla irritations. Controlling almost everything through a touchscreen can be frustrating, and it's annoying that you don't get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But the Model 3 is still one of the best cars we drove all year. If you want to see full reviews and rankings of all the small sedans, or any other cars, we've got them all on our site. So that's it for the best cars of the year. We had some standout SUVs, some electrifying EVs, and some relaxing luxury alternatives. 2025 really did have something for everyone. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe to our channel, join us on social, and of course head to edmunds.com for all your car shopping needs. We'll even make you a cash offer for your existing car. Thanks for watching. See you next time.